Okay, so tonight's question. I got this for Christmas.
Okay.
This is prompts for igniting stories. It's supposed to be like campfire stories.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna pull a random one.
All right.
I don't know how much like camping you've done, so I don't know if this will work or not.
I am a terrible camper. I hate bugs.
I mean, I don't do it a lot, but I like doing it.
Okay.
So, okay, maybe this could work. The best meal you've ever had over a campfire.
Oh.
I remember. I know this one. I remember it.
My dad was an amazing over the campfire chef, hands down. So we had these. Oh man. I mean, you have your classics like the s'mores, the hot dogs. But my dad had these pie maker things. So
like pudgy pies.
Is that what they are? I
think
don't
that's
know.
what they're called.
But like it's metal, so you could put it over the campfire,
and
but you put your stuff
on
yes.
Pretty sure that's pudgy pies, but I could be wrong. Maybe
I don't even remember. Were they
I don't know.
Like fruit pies, or were they like I can't remember.
I don't know.
But whatever they were amazing. But yeah, I've never been a good camper. I'm gonna be honest. One, I don't like discomfort. Like sleeping outside.
You can camp in comfort.
But like
bring an air mattress.
But see, I don't even sleep well with that. Like one,
bring an air mattress with a foam pad on top of it.
You can't control the humidity in the tent. You could be either hot or really cold, and it doesn't really matter. You're just uncomfortable, and you can get attacked by a bear, or a raccoon, or a spider. I could do that, or I could be in my bed at home.
All right, so we're gonna have a featuring fatherhood camp out.
Oh no!
This summer?
No.
Maybe this fall. Fall is much
nicer
than summer.
What, featuring fatherhood camp out, and then we're also gonna do a featuring fatherhood Spartan race. Wow. Yeah.
What if we rent a trailer? Camp in the trailer.
I'd be more okay. Dude, as long as we got our window box, I'll be cool with that. What about you?
Put this back before I forget, so it completes the.
There you go.
Set. Yeah. So I remember mine clearly. It was I was like 10, 11 at Camp Du Bois. The summer camp I went to every year. We camped out in the woods, and most nights we would go to like the cook hall, whatever it was, dining commons, and have dinner there. But one night we were like legit camping under the stars, like didn't have tents, didn't have our cabins, and making our dinner at the fire. And so they brought out like tinfoil and then just hamburger meat and all these toppings. And so you just grabbed some hamburger meat and then you grabbed like whatever you wanted, cheese, onions, whatever, and just like ripped it all up, tore it in there and like mushed it up into a giant ball and then smashed it flat, folded it in, and literally just threw it in the fire. It was so freaking
really
good.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I've tried to recreate it and it's never worked well.
Man,
I don't know.
What would you call something like that? Smush burger instead of a smash burger.
Tinfoil burger. No, okay, we gotta come up with a good name for that.
There you go. There you go. Interesting.
I don't know. Flame broiled.
There you go.
But yeah, it was so good.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, welcome everyone to Featuring Fatherhood. This video, I didn't say tonight. This video, we are talking about capturing family moments. This is something that I've been really, really passionate about since Amelia was born. And when we talked about it like that, our first video, which hasn't been published yet, our very first video is actually a secret. Maybe it'll get posted sometime, but it was like our trial run. Yeah. But in that we talked about like, oh, this would be a fun one to do. And you mentioned that, you'd actually be really interested because you're not good at capturing. Moments.
Yeah. In fact, it's something that I've struggled with,
Let me pause though. Before we'll come back to that. Like, I want to clarify what I mean by that. Cause I think I could say like capturing moments and be like, what are you talking about? I mean, like either doing something that is, taking videos of your kids, taking photos of your kids, or even it could be something else creative. Like it requires creativity. I feel like, that's good. Like writing down, like writing a story. Like right now, I did this gift for him for Father's Day last year, called Storyworth. Not sponsored, but they can sponsor us if they want to. Where he gets like a email every week prompt, and he's supposed to write about it. And at the end, it turns into a book, right? So you could do something like that too to capture moments. So anyways, capturing moments, anything related to, physically doing something probably requires a little bit of creativity, but doesn't require you to be an expert in it.
Yeah.
But something that, you'll be able to leave behind for your kids to remember life growing up.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Sorry, back to you were saying that's not something you're good at.
No, it's not. It's not that I don't care. It's just like it's not a priority.
Yeah.
Like pictures have never really been a priority. Like my wife, who loves pictures. There's so many. What gets me is how you have like 30 of the same picture on your phone, but you don't delete any of them.
I've got a solution for that.
That blows my mind. Is there an app or something?
No, it's just a way of doing it.
Because I'm like, it blows my mind. But she's consistently like, hey, we need to do pictures. And I'm just like, didn't we just do pictures? And she's like, well, the kids are a little bit older. And I'm like, but they haven't changed. Like they're still the same kids. Like, but I've learned over the years the importance of a lot of that stuff that is happening now with my kids. I didn't have growing up.
Yeah.
Like the amount of memories. I would love to be able to go back and remember a lot of the stuff I did as a kid.
Yeah, that was going to be like my next question.
And like I can't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
I do remember one thing that I really invested in, and it was the moment. And I'm gonna get choked up thinking about it because the moment was absolutely heavenly for me. Is when I had my son up on stage for worship.
Yeah.
Sunday. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
And
I was mad I didn't have my camera.
Oh my goodness. And so my son was 4, and he had a blue guitar, and he wanted to sing House of the Lord with me on stage. And I'm like, let's go for it, bud. And I thought he was going to be nervous, but he stepped right up to that mic.
Yeah.
He sang every word, didn't play the guitar correctly, but he's getting there. And
his mic was even turned on too, wasn't it?
No. Oh, heck no.
Oh, I thought you could hear him.
No. Oh, maybe he was just singing.
I was close to him.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, he was. But he sung with confidence.
Yeah.
That just broke my heart. Like
Yeah.
I just fell in love in that moment. And that was a moment that I wanted to capture for the rest of my life, and something that I want my son to remember when he's older.
Yeah.
It's like that moment that we were able to share.
Yeah.
Worshiping Jesus together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that goes into my next question, which you kind of answered it a little bit, but like, when you think about like your kids, so picture your kids 20 years from now, 30 years from now, right? Do you want them to be able to, look through a box of photos or watch home videos and be able to like retell these stories?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
And what's it feel like to think like that's not going to happen?
It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Like
it's so important.
Yeah, it really does. And I remember like, as a family, we had one home video recorder.
Yep.
And it was like the
The
clunky.
hang on.
Oh, you have one. Why do you have one? Yes, exactly. That's exactly what. This is exactly what it was. Is this the one? I'm just joking.
I have 2 of them actually.
And you can open it up, and actually, no, it wasn't that high tech yet.
This might be my father-in-law's, but yeah.
It might not have. But it got stolen.
Oh.
And it had all our family's home videos, all our Christmases, and things like that on it.
That's heartbreaking.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, and now that we're talking about it, like I don't want my kids to ever ever forget what they experienced as kids.
And that feeling of like losing something or not having it, like it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like I remember, so last January or last December, we went back to Southern Illinois for Christmas, or like right after Christmas, whatever. And my dad, who had been a park ranger for like 37 years, my mom was a park ranger. They both met at the St. Louis Arch, and worked there for a while. My mom eventually switched to another career, but my dad stayed at the Arch until he retired.
Okay.
And one of his last projects was like, I don't know if he was like leading it, but he was like on the team that was making decisions to redo the grounds and the museum. And if you know my dad, like he's all about that.
Really?
Like he's so like, oh, it's awesome. He's great with that. But he left, like he retired because my mom's job took them out to Brooklyn. And so he gave that up and retired. So when we went back this last December, it was like the grand opening, or maybe not the grand opening. I don't remember if it was a grand opening. Anyways, it was open. Museum was open. And so Emma and Amelia and I and my mom and dad, we went and walked through the museum. And like, I remember going up to the arch, like the top of the arch when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like all these memories. And so it was so cool for me to be able to bring Amelia and Emma.
For sure.
So I had my camera and I was like recording everything, right? My dad was telling us all about the different like elements to the museum and like the stuff that was going into making decisions for this to go there and what to go where. And it was so cool. Like we got a private tour basically from my dad and had it all on video. And somehow I deleted all the footage.
Oh.
Lost it all. All I had was the photos that I had sent to my phone. And it wrecked me. Like I for like 2 weeks, I would not accept it. I was like, nope, it's here somewhere. Yeah. And like just scoured through every hard drive I had, every SD card I had multiple times and couldn't find it. And it was so heartbreaking because I mean, I'll never get that back. Like, I can't redo that.
Yeah.
So that thought of like if you don't have those, what you miss out on, it's just huge.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I mean, that's why it's so important to me.
For sure.
Like, and I think this started for me when Amelia was born, like around that time, my dad gave me a big box full of all of our home videos, which I had never known we had. Like, I never even knew we had a like camcorder. And so he gave them to me to digitize. And so I digitized them all and went through, and we had videos from like when I was a baby, like my christening is in there. I was baptized Catholic. Little fact.
Is it christening? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
As christening, I was like, no way.
Yep.
Look at that.
And so anyway, so like that was in there, like Christmases and our trips to Alice Springs and all this stuff. I mean, and they had stuff up until maybe I was 7 or 8. And then they just kind of stopped. And part of me is like, man, I really wish they had kept going. And my wife, like they have stuff from when they're little all the way up, through, I don't know, my wife's like 15 in the video they had last. And so it was so cool, like to watch those. And they're like, the biggest thing for me was my parents did a really good job of taking photos. And when I moved out, they gave me like a box that was all photos, like my photos basically. And so like I'm watching through these videos and there were moments where like I would recognize it because of a photo that I saw and be like, that's there.
That's
right.
Cool.
And, it was so cool to be able like to see that. But even more than that, like it was like the little things like, seeing my first dog on camera, right. Who like died when I was like 7. Yeah. Right. Like seeing her on there and be like super excited to show my wife to be like, that's Libby.
Yeah.
Right? Or like my grandpa who passed away when I think I was like 10 or 11, like to hear him in there and like hear that thick Boston accent.
Yeah.
Like it's just so good. And it reminds me of these moments and like allows me to relive them a little bit, even if I don't fully remember them. Right. Like
that's true.
It gives me a glimpse into my family's history, into my story. And so that for me was like the igniter. Like I want Amelia and any future kids we have to be able to have that same thing. Like I want them to have photos. I want them to have videos. Like I want them to be able to look back on their childhood. Like I want them to be able to show their kids one day. Like I want my great grandkids to be able to know who I am because of these videos. Right. So like that's my big reason, like why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's honestly like I think about that and I think about like your family and other families. I'm like, I want that for you guys too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's so important for us to leave a legacy. Like I'm going off on a tangent here. But like how many generations back do you know?
Oh,
like legit question.
Honestly, like 3. Maybe.
Okay. Like your great grandparents or just your grandparents?
I would say great grandparents.
Okay. So like, you know, like their names, like what do you know about them?
Oh man. I know that my great grandpa, was Native American.
Okay. What tribe?
I have no idea. I just know he was Native American, or it might have been his mom that was Native American, whatever. But man, I would love to know,
right?
like the history behind like what tribe my descendants are from.
Yeah.
That would have been great to know.
This is a new concept.
Yeah.
Us not knowing
great.
our ancestry is hugely new in the span of history.
That is so true.
Right?
Like even in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like
if
Matthew.
you were to, exactly. You look at Matthew, both Matthew and Luke have like the full genealogy, right? All the way back to, I think Matthew's goes back to Abraham, and I think Luke's goes all the way back to Adam, right? Yeah. If you were to like go back in time and talk to someone from, first century Israel and ask them like, who's your hero, right? Tell me about a hero. They'd probably tell you about someone in their family line, like many generations back that they never met, but they know the story of, right?
That is so
and
true.
That's like, you also think about, that's why people are so into doing like these DNA tests and finding out their ancestry, because we don't know it, because we've gotten into a rhythm of, I don't need to know anyone past my grandparents, right?
You're so right. That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And so like for me, I'm like, no, I don't want that for my kids. Like I want my kids to know who like my mom and dad are. I want my kids to know who my grandparents are, because they're freaking awesome. Yeah. Right.
And I feel like, honestly, we're hitting a point where we're reconnecting with that in regard to like, with the help of like the internet and things like that. I think there was a point in time where that was so difficult to follow and things took place of prioritizing your ancestry, things like that. So.
And you can like find out information too, which is really cool. Like the past year, I've found out a little bit more about like my dad's side of the family. Like I always knew my middle name Franklin came from my great grandfather. So my dad's dad, right? Franklin Zeno, who, he came over from Italy to Boston. There was always a story that he like jumped the boat, like it was going to New York. He jumped the boat, went to Boston instead. I don't know if that's true or not. I always like to joke that my grandfather was in the mafia and that's why, right? But anyways, like, learning a little bit more about Frank Zeno and like his life was just super fun for me. And then even a couple of weeks ago, I found my dad like emailed me genealogy of his family all the way back to like my 6th great grandfather. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
My wife is yelling at her dog. Not yelling. She's firmly saying stop. But just that, like, it's so cool for me to be able to learn a little bit more, even if it's just glimpses, right? Like my 6th great grandfather, all I know is his name and his year of birth and year of death and where he lived. But like the fact that I know that, like to me is so cool.
Yeah.
So I think just stuff like that is important for us to try and like leave for the generations that are going to follow us. So tips for how to do that. Yeah. Because I feel like I can't just like tell you like this is what you need to do without like saying like here's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think what's really nice is we all have phones that have cameras, right? Like I personally hate using my phone as a camera.
Yeah. Actually, I got a question for that whenever you're done. But go ahead.
No, go. I've been talking. Sure? I've been talking a while.
Oh no, you're good. No, honestly, I love how passionate you are about this. This is like, it encourages me.
Well, I know that next week you're going to be just as passionate about worship. So
we're going to talk about worship here soon. It's going down. No, just joking. When does it get obsessive though? Like, I feel like it's important, obviously so important to capture these memories, but that as the saying goes, put the phone down and capture the moment in real time.
I think for me, because I'm a videographer, like that's my job. Yeah. And so it's one of those things where I've done that before. I think it just has to like, it requires you to be aware. Like, I think that's the only way it works for me. Like, am I missing something by having my camera up? And so for me, like I've come to a point where like, so for example, today my daughter and I went to, the conservatory and I was taking some photos of her. And I didn't want to be obsessive with it. Like I wanted to watch her experience stuff. And so I would snap a photo and then put the camera down and watch her play for a bit. And I think that's, I don't know, for me, it's just one of those things of being aware. Like I don't want to watch it all day, have life recorded all day, every day through a screen, right? Like I want to watch her do these things and I want to watch her play. At the same time, I do want to record it. And so sometimes even too, like I'll set the camera up and just plop it down and record stuff. So it's like, I'm not even like, I'm just playing with her, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if I have a great answer for that other than just trying to be aware of it.
Yeah. And I've seen so many situations, and this is just me personally, not really knowing the best way to handle these scenarios, but like if you're trying to get kids to smile and they just are not happy, you know, like force them, hey, woo, you know, stand behind the camera guy and they're just like not having it. Like in those moments, I guess what's the point of trying to capture those moments? I understand like trying to put on a smile to make the picture look good.
Honestly though, so we do family photos.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking from somebody who does that for a living.
And I always tell people, like, believe me, like when you get the photos, you're going to think it's the funniest thing that your kid is not smiling right now. Like my mom's profile picture right now is her and my dad, and they're laughing their heads off because they've got my nephew and my daughter, and both of them are screaming, trying to get away from them.
Those are my favorite photos.
It's so funny.
It's real. It's
so
real life.
In the moment, though, like when you're taking photos and you're like, my kid is not smiling, right? Like it feels annoying because you want that picture perfect photo. I think that's what culture kind of shows us, right? Like this Instagram, social media culture now. But to me, I'm like, nah, I just want the real. It's like, good. I want to remember that she was not happy this day, but she looks cute when she's not happy.
Exactly.
Right? And so like, I don't know, for me, I'm just like, take the photo anyways. And it's going to be something that you look back and it'll probably make you laugh.
I like that.
So
good. It's good stuff.
Okay. Well, let's end this. I'll give some tips on how to do this, or at least what I've been doing to do it. I think for me, what has been best is actually having a camera that I use solely for like capturing our family moments. And that might be different for me as a videographer, right? Like you have your phone. If that's what you have, like use it. But if you want to take it a step further, or if anyone out there wants to take a step further, get a camera that like you're going to use solely for these things. For me, I have two. One is a video camera, and one is a photo camera. And for me, like I had to get stuff that would be small and not perfect, right? Like I've got big DSLRs, like professional cameras that I used to use for family stuff. It's just too bulky for me. I don't get it out, like all this different stuff. At the same time, like I don't want to use my phone because I don't think iPhone photos look good. And like, I don't want to have it stored on my phone. Right. So like for me, it took getting cameras that I would use specifically for these things. So that might be different for people who aren't like photographers and videographers, but I do think it's also like helpful, because, and this goes into my second point, it requires you to find a better way to store your memories, right? Like, where's my phone? We look at your phone, like pull your phone out real quick. I want to know how many photos you have on it.
Oh, dude. Probably like 12.
Really?
Compared to my wife?
Okay,
wow, I have a lot more than I thought.
How many you got?
702 photos.
702?
And wow, a lot of these Colin took himself of his nostrils. This is great.
Yeah, so I've got 12,743. And I know my wife probably has like 4 times that.
Oh, I know my wife has like 60,000 times that.
Like you think about like, how are you going to go back and look at those? Like you just don't. There's too many, right? So for me, it's figure out a way to store your family moments that you will go back to look at them.
Yeah.
Right. So our friend Allison Francois does a really cool thing where she does like a family yearbook every year. I think that's awesome.
I've read those. Those are so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
It's super cool. And it's a great way to like remember these moments and store the photos. I mean, you could also just print photos, or you could put them in like in a separate folder. It's like, these are the selected, like these are the cream of the crop. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it really just comes down to like, once you have the photos and the videos, it doesn't matter what you're using to film them on or take them on. It doesn't matter like how good or how bad they look, as long as you're able to like be able to go back and watch it and like it brings you joy. Yeah. Like I think that's the key for it. But then like for actually doing it, because I think that's the other thing too, right? There's the whole side of having them, but to actually get them, to me, it's just required me to think about the fact that if I don't do this, my kids aren't going to be able to remember these things.
Yeah.
And like, even as a videographer, like I struggle to capture moments, right? Like with my family, partially because like I do this all the time for my job. I don't know if I want to do it at home, but like when I start thinking about the fact that if I don't pull my camera out right now, because I haven't in the past, 2-3 weeks, like my daughter's not going to have anything to go back on and watch or to look at. And even if that's like, it's just for 5 minutes and it's literally just setting it down and her playing. Like I know that 10 years from now, she's going to get to like watch that and look at that. And if she's like me, where I like am glued to the screen watching home videos of me when I was a kid, even though it was just sitting there and I wasn't doing anything but playing, like it's so cool. And so I want that for my kids. So yeah.
It's good stuff, man. I appreciate it. And even like as we were talking, like I was scrolling back to some of my first photos and I'm like blown away. Like I have this video of Colin and I's first guitar and drum session. Like he's playing a drum set he got for Christmas and he's literally like 2 years old in that picture. Like I love that.
And he's wearing a Woody costume.
He's wearing a Woody, you can't see it. He's wearing a Woody pajamas and he's playing drums while I'm playing guitar. And like I'll have that forever.
That's so life-giving, right?
It really is. It really is.
So find a way to store that other than on your phone so that you find it more often.
I don't know how to do that. That's why we're friends.
We'll figure it out.
You'll help me out.
So anyways, that's one thing. I don't know if, maybe this applies to you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't care about this or aren't as excited about it as I am.
If you don't, speaking for somebody who hasn't cared in the past, it's really important. Like you were talking about the whole ancestry thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know past my great-grandparents. So it's important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Because I think like, I don't know, just the thought of my great-great-grandkids could know who I am. Yeah. Like that's cool to me. So
awesome.
Anyways, share this video with someone. If it spoke anything to you, subscribe if you're not already, hit the like button. I feel like a real YouTuber saying those things.
Yeah. You should let me say it once. Next time I got it.
Rewind.
I'm under pressure. Like and subscribe. Pound it.
Play the music.